everyone, welcome to Web Coding. I hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to see about a topic of an SCTP association. Without any delay, we can move on to the topic. An SCTP association. In SCTP association, first, what is association? Okay, what is association? Association is nothing but connection. Okay. We are connecting the sender and the receiver, right? We have so many mechanisms. Those are we already seen in the previous videos. So these connections in SCTP, the term we are using instead of the connection is called association, right? Okay. Next will be association establishment. How we are establish our association, okay? Okay. We know that in TCP it is a three-way communication. In SCTP we are using the four-way communication. Okay, the four-way communication. Like if it is the client, it is then server. If we want to send the informations, we are sending an init chunk. We already know that what is the init chunk, right? Init chunk with then verification tag. It is moving to the server. Then server is going through this. Then the server is sending the init acknowledgement. Then we are sending the cookie echo. Then when the cookie acknowledgement is came, we can start moving to the sending our data. But we may have the doubt that in TCP it is like three-way communication. Then it is better reliable than SCTP, right? Then why we are moving to SCTP? It is not like that. SCTP is most secure. At the same time, from the init acknowledgement comes, right? Here itself, we can transfer the data with the help of SCTPs in the secured manner. Okay, I'm going to explain what is cookies, then what is verification tags. Those things I will explain in this video. Now, but for now, just I'm telling that in TCP, after the completion of three-way communication only, we can transmit our information. But in SCTP, we can transmit our information from the second respond itself, right? This is about association establishment. Okay, then the next will be next will be the number of packets exchanged. Okay, we can exchange so many number of packets. We know that what is the packets, what is TSN, SIM, SA, all those things we know, right? I already explained in the previous video. Here we are going to see about the verification tag and cookies. First, what is verification tag? Okay, let us take an example of TCP. If we are sending the information in the TCP, while I am sending on information from the sender, okay, to the receiver. If we are sharing the information, it carries the direct IP address of the destination. Okay, direct IP address of the destination. So if one of the hacker, okay, if there is an hacker, okay, who wants to retrieve those informations, he can retrieve from this IP address itself. Okay, he can retrieve our data, or if he can include some duplicate packets into that, like that it will be happening TCP. But while coming to SCTP, we are using an association, right? We are using an association. So while transferring, like we are going to have, there is multiple number of senders and the multiple number of receivers. So we are not going to use those IP addresses directly. We are going to use some of the segments of the IP addresses of the sender and the receiver. It is for the sending and the receiving purposes that we may call as we are using some temporary addresses. That it is not an actual address of the sender, or it is not an actual address of the receiver. This is called verification tag. We are using verification tags while we are transmitting the data. Then what is cookies? Cookies is like, okay, we are saving those informations, right? We are not using directly the sender detail and the receiver detail into it. While the sender is sending some messages, it is having the real IP addresses of his and then receiver's addresses, right? In some place, we are going to save this, and in the transmitting process, we are going to use some other IP addresses. Okay, that is, I'm sending the messages hi. When I do some operations while it reaches the receiver, then I will say I need to save this message in the third source. Otherwise, I will lose my packet. Otherwise, I will lose my fragmentation, right? So I need to save this detail in the third source. These source may become cookie. These is may become cookie data. If we are not using that, if we are not, it is not necessary for the future purposes, then it will become cookie. It is about then cookie and then verification tag, right? Next one will be how we are transferring the data. Okay, simply we are having like we know what is TSN number is, right? Then we are sharing data set. Here the TSN is 7105, the other TSN is 7106. We are sending it to the server, okay, from the client to the server. Then the TSN is 107, 108. All four are different, right? We are sending those information from the client to the server. But while the response is coming from the server, it may be an for 70 for this TSN, we are having the response with the TSN detail of 10121. Then we can consider that if it is then 7108, while the receiving end is coming from 121, how it can map the TSN values, how we can map TSN values, right? It will map by itself. We are know that the chunks are that is the transmission part is fully what I have to say. It's fully depends on that our control chunks. We are not using the separate acknowledgement statements. It is not that much necessary part two, right? So while the response is coming from 121, it will attach the TSN of 108. The response of this will be an 121. Then it will send it here. Okay, then if the server wants to send 122 as a different chunk, then it will send here. Then the SAT chunk will be, that is selection acknowledgement chunk will be going on for 122. Then the 122 procedure will start after this time. The acknowledgement in SCTP defines the cumulative TSNs. That is, we can compare the two TSNs. Then it can be considered. If I'm using 121 again, then it will be considered, it will be for 7108. It is the response for 7108. Okay. The TSN of the last data chunk is received in the order. Okay. In a particular order, we are receiving those data. This is about the data transfer. And then we are moving to the multi-homing data transfer. We are already known as what is multi-homing data transfer. We can have the n number of physical addresses for one system or something. Okay, we can have an n number of IP addresses. Now the problem is when the client sending the messages to the server, we are having the n number of addresses, right? Then what address it will be take to us is consideration. Okay, here it is. Then here it will be in server. Okay, when the client wants to send something, we are having n number of IP addresses. Okay, we are having n number of IP addresses. Then which IP address we need to use? It will be a big question here, right? The solution for this it will be like it will choose one IP address as a primary IP address. Okay, it is fully depends upon client to choose the destination's IP address. When the server is sending, if the client has an n number of IP addresses, then the server can select one primary address. It fully depends upon who is sending. Okay, destination is depends upon who is sending those details. It will take one address as a primary address. If the primary address is discarded or if we are not having any primary addresses, then from the remaining addresses, we can take one address as a primary address. it is how we are transferring our data transfer in the multihoming method. Then it will be fragmentation. We know that we are chunks, okay? We are splitting up into chunks. Those chunks we are calling it as fragmentation too. I already explained the detail about in the previous video. Now we can go through some brief explanations, okay? The message is broken into the smaller fragments to meet the size of requirement. We know that. That is, there is a big data. We are going to split up into the data chunks. A data chunk header is added to then each fragment. In each fragment, we are having the header. In the header, we know that we are having checksum, verification tag, source port address, then the destination port address. So we are having those details. Then all header chunks carry same stream identifier. We know that, right? This is one stream. The stream identifier will be the same for this whole stream. Then the SSN number, that is stream sequence number, will be varied for that each fragments. We know that the first segment will be 10, middle segment will be 100, last fragment will be 01. We know all these details already, right? Then we can move on to the association termination. It is a process of how we are transmitting the data. Still we saw how we are transferring the data from the client to the server, right? Here we are going to see about the termination parts. One is shutdown. If we want to shut down, the client will send the shutdown chunk. If the shutdown acknowledgement is come back, then the shutdown is going to be complete. Then the next one will be an association abortion. If there is any problem in it, that we are having more than one errors, we are getting continuous errors, then it should be an optional also. We are going to abort our process, right? Okay, this is all about SCTP Association. I hope you all understood about an SCTP Association, right? I will give some overview of an SCTP Association. Simply, the connections are called an association in SCTP. Establishment is taken by the four-way procedures, but we can transfer those data from the two-way itself. It is very secured because we are using the verification tag and cookies. Then the third one, the data transfer will be taken care by our control chunks itself, right? Then we having the multi-homing data transfer. For that, we are setting one address as a primary address. With the help of that, we are transferring the data. Then the next one will be then fragmentation. That is, we know that the long message is going to be split out into the fragments. All the stream will have one stream identifier. Then each stream will have the stream sequence number. The first fragment will be in 10, second fragment, middle fragment will be in 00, and the last fragment will be in 01, right? Then the next one will be association termination. Termination, it takes place under the shutdown. If there is any repetition of errors, then we are going to abort an association. This is all about an SCTP association. I hope you all understand the video. Have a great day. We can meet in the next video.